Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Nefology, the podcast dedicated to crypto, accounting, business, finance, and much, much more. I'm Joe David, the founder of Nefos Group in Minor. Please note that all conversations recorded are professional opinions, and if you'd like to know more or gain support, please reach out to the team directly. Now on to the next episode.
Hello and welcome to Nefology for our, I think, second instalment with the wonderful Kieran George. How are you, Kieran? Intro yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Kieran George. No, I'm Kieran. I do. Been in the blockchain space since 2017. Oh dear, if only you could see what he looks like right now. Dear me. And I fell into the Web3 space, crypto space, blockchain space, NFT space, however you want to word it, through chance. However, I used to trade computer skins, digital skins, Team Fortress 2, Dota, CSGO, etc. And realised NFTs are very similar, but with the benefit that I can earn by selling them on again. So I stuck around because I enjoyed that. Bred crypto kitties and fell into that 2017 late in the year. Lost probably more crypto kitties than I care to ever admit. Bought God knows how many other like random projects, Etherbots, Pandarium, all of those sort of old trying NFTs back then, MLB, little head things like the Sabutio characters and all that jazz. I can't remember what they're called now. And all sorts, yeah. Been in the space a long while. Really enjoy the gaming / collectible aspect side of things and music, and you know me by now, I talk a lot of rubbish, so yeah, hi.
Nice intro. That's one of the reasons why you're here, really, because we know you've got a wealth of gaming and obviously crypto knowledge behind you. I'm a huge gaming advocate personally. I play all sorts of things like Call of Duty, Ark, Red Dead Redemption Online for quite a while with some accidental fame, shall we say. But let's put a pin on that because this is my professional podcast. Let's start with play to earn gaming. It's probably the best place to start when we talk about gaming within the crypto space. Again, I've been involved with a fair few of them. Axie Infinity, Pegasus, Splinterlands. Lost a lot of money, if I'm honest, over the times. It started to earn money, but yeah, it didn't go down too well. What's your take on play to earn gamings? I don't know if you've got any experience in it or any comments.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, I think, and their dog joined on Axie early days. I lost money in Wolf Game, a fair few, Ponzi games and clicker aspect side of games in Web3. Quite enjoy Clash Dome, Endless Siege, like a tower defense. There's not really much by the way of not creativity. That's the wrong word. There are projects coming that are doing this sort of thing, like Treeverse, and Pez with his
Pancake that has a is it Pancake that has a tower defense play to earn game at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Obviously, as I said, Clash Dome had Endless Siege as well. That's one that's on Wax. Loopify has Treeverse that's on, I want to say Arbitrum, Treasure DAO and all that stuff. There's lots. I've had fun with a fair few. About 95 to 99% of the space, though, is clickers that are probably more akin to what you would have played when you went on the old, what do you call it?
Mini clip.
The awful. Yes, literally. There you go. You've hit on one. So many games are passing themselves off as like the mini clip website things where you'd go on there, do a handful of clicky stuff with tokens behind them or NFTs behind them, and you have to buy to join them, and buying them, there's a massive barrier to entry. Clicker games, they're horrendous, and unfortunately a large portion, polarizing statement alert, are Ponzi's. Web3 gaming as almost 95% collective is Ponzi's. Probably the most effective Ponzi's out there. After the ICO craze in 2017, and everybody and their dog was buying early and trying to sell early, now we've got Ponzi's in gaming.
So you're saying play to earn gaming, if you're involved, chances are it's a Ponzi scheme. Do you have any backing for that, Kieran, or is that an opinion, experience?
So you buy in a... No, you're fine. So an awful lot of these games will offer like an initial NFT sale in order to join them, where you have to buy an NFT to be able to play it or to buy some land. This land, like, let's say you buy it on initial launch at $20, $50, something like that. Chances are you aren't going to sell it at that point because you're waiting to see what the game, what happens with the game. Loads of marketing, loads of word of mouth, loads of Web2 style influencer marketing happens where loads of influencers or big accounts with social following start talking about it. So people get FOMO, start buying these items. There's still no utility for them. And all of a sudden the price of land has gone from your $20 or $50 purchase to a $3,000. Are you going to hold it and wait for a game that might take 3, 4, 5 years? I mean, bearing in mind a AAA title to be able to be developed, you're looking 3 to 4 years on a standard, like if you're working from an engine that's already created. Look at Football Manager. This is a slight tangent, but look at Football Manager. They're building a whole new engine for their like matches and the highlights and everything like that. And they've announced this year that it's coming out in 2025. But they've already been working on this for a good year, 2 years, possibly even longer. So that's a 4-year cycle for a game that isn't truly surrounding like the 3D or the 2D element. Most of it is, this is really horrible to say, and I really like Miles, but an awful lot of Football Manager is spreadsheets, just dressed up with new front interfaces. The same as TEW, Total Extreme Warfare, like a wrestling sim and things like that, or Tennis Manager, or Motorsport Manager. Most of them are just spreadsheets with the front end that makes it look fancy and does little things with code. An awful lot of it. Basically, the sooner you get into a Web3 game that is play to earn, the quicker you get your return on investment, the quicker you sell it onto new people coming in, and the barrier to entry is no longer 20 or 50 quid because everybody's got all those. And if someone wants to join, all of a sudden joining a month later, the barrier to entry is 300 or 400 quid. And then as more FOMO comes on and more player bases are trying to come on, unless these barrier to entry pieces are always the same level, the price goes up and up and up. It's a Ponzi. You get in early, you earn more money.
Like I said, I'm struggling to disagree with you on that one. Whether it's intentional or not, I don't know. Probably not, but yeah, I can see. I mean, I am living proof that it hasn't worked out for me in terms of play-to-earn gaming. It just hasn't. I've probably lost more money than I've ever made in any way in crypto all put together. But at the same time, I do know people that got in early. I do know people that got it right and set up the right sort of organization, the right, how should I say it? They've just set it up well in a sense that it's just gone well for them. The chances are it's because they've got in early though. And I think that's a big part of it. If you're not an early adopter of these play-to-earn gaming platforms, you're probably not going to make much money, if any money at all. Probably. Again, none of this is financial advice. It's just two guys with their own opinions on it, to be honest. But please, if anybody has any comments to contrast this, comment it on whatever platform you're listening or viewing on. We'd love to hear from you all.
The key thing to look at as a play-to-earn game, is it fun? Now, how do you quantify fun? Is the dopamine that you're hitting through the experiences, the laughter through the dialogue, or the gameplay mechanics where you're able to be like when you used to play Halo or Emerald Tournament and teabag a corpse that you've just killed? Or is it knifing somebody via CSGO or COD? Or is it scoring a Panika in the FIFA game or a PES game? Or is it like a really cool strategy that makes you win on this battlefield in Rome Total War or Empire Earth? Or there are many other titles such that I haven't listed, but they're obviously not on my choice right now. That's where your dopamine hit is on mainstream propagating. They wouldn't be great games if you was just buying them. Play to earn, the reason you're playing that isn't necessarily for the fun part. You're playing those games because you feel like you are going to get a return on your investment, or you're earning. Like the key is in the name. Like it's not play to have fun gaming in Web3. It's play to earn. That just doesn't make sense to me. You're chasing a dopamine hit in the wrong direction.
So let's tear away from play to earn gaming, because that's a very small. It's a large part of history with NFTs and gaming, definitely, and it probably will continue. But let's tear away from there for now and dive into other aspects. So let's talk about NFT, rather than play to earn gaming, let's talk about games that incorporate NFTs, if that makes sense. So it's not a game created specifically for NFT and the blockchains and all that. It's a game that is created for fun that incorporates NFTs. So we're talking about digital ownership and that type of thing. You've mentioned about CS:GO and your skins and trading and all that. Like, to me, that's almost a blueprint of exactly what that is, with a lot more options, I guess.
Yeah, using that as the go-to comparison is probably the first true drag and drop style of NFTs that you could use as an example. You don't play the game to earn the skins. You play the game because the feedback loop or the mechanics within the game are fun. You then just happen to take these skins. They don't level up they don't give you cheat codes. They don't give you power ups against other people. They're a cosmetic thing, almost like an extension of what you like as a person. Now, whether you're chasing the most expensive shadow daggers or karambit or an AWP redline, etc., or whatever, Asimov or Dragon Law, whatever you want to call it, you're playing with that because it's a statement to you, or you're showing off, but it's not giving you a dopamine hit directly different to the game itself on the basis of
it's an extension of
the underlying mechanics of the game. Yeah, it becomes a marketplace within it. It becomes an extension of the game. It's not the sole purpose to play that game for the majority of your player base. Now, there are some that will entirely skin trade, that will entirely do coin flips for skins in the gambling trade, the casinos. You can't get away from that, unfortunately. That's always going to be there. But the underlying mechanics is these are extensions within a game. You're not playing them solely to only have that as the feedback loop. I mean, in Axie, you're clicking a handful of buttons. There's not really any dialogue per se. There's not really any, it's tournaments. It's PvP. There's no PvE. There's no feedback loops within it as such, other than I can sell this and earn money.
Yeah, and it's the same as many traditional games. I play DC Universe Online every now and then, and there is, you do your missions, you do your raids, you hang with people, whatever. But there's also an element of the things that you earn, you can put up for auction. You can sell items, you can buy items on an open exchange, an open market. So what we're saying is take that already established concept in many different types of games and genres of games, and if they can somehow incorporate the NFT technology, whereby the ownership of the items are the players, because anything you earn in game is it's not yours. You can't just take it and sell it and buy a Tesco shopping with it, can you? Whereas if there's some form of NFT smart contracts underlying it all, underpinning it all, and then there's an open market or a cryptocurrency linked to it, you can eventually bridge it from in-game asset to fiat. It might take a few steps, but I like the idea of that. I like the idea of this digital ownership really coming into play, especially for gaming.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of touch on CS:GO as a comparison because it's the biggest skin market out there. There's skins. Just recently, one sold for like 220 grand, 60 grand, 100 grand, like knives, etc. It happens. You can trade those for cash, but the NFTs only have a use within that game. Your account still can be banned within that game, and then you lose everything you bought because all you own is a digital license to have access to their game, and you're paying within a ecosystem or a marketplace or a currency derivative within that, token for token, etc. It's only represented in that game. You can be locked from it. NFTs give you that extension where if Steam blocked you from the game, you can still trade those skins externally on OpenSea or whatever marketplace. It could be Atomic Hub, it could be within Flow or Moxie. You could be trading these anywhere else if you owned them within your own wallet. So that's like the key benefit there. Like you own the item, you've got the probable point of where it was created to know it is a legit skin as well. You don't get people spoofing and trying to trade you fake items like you do sometimes get within CS:GO, where people will make it look like you're trading like your M4 Howl for a different M4 Howl with a different float, and then before long you realise that they've scammed you and it's not actually an M4 Howl, it's something else from another game because you wasn't astute enough to realise. It just gives you that extra barrier or that extra level of validation via, hopefully, the tools being there on the blockchain that you're using. to verify it yourself. Don't trust, verify. That's what I was always told within trading and items and gaming, and that's how I use it now.
No, that makes sense. I'm just very excited for the future of this type of incorporation of the crypto space, specifically NFTs, because I think it's almost certain to happen. I can't see why there'd be a situation where this is just doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen for all games. It might. I think that's a bad idea if it does, because only certain games, like CS:GO, it could work for, like just MMO RPGs, so massive multiplayer online role play games. That would work. I mean, I don't play World of Warcraft. I can imagine that their ecosystem for loot and gear and all that is very complex, and people will probably, I imagine, be buying it for real world currency, so fiat. So why not make it easier and probably safer and more trackable with the immutable ledger that is the blockchain, to have these as NFTs to not only help protect consumers and sellers, to be honest, but to streamline it and potentially open up the world to even more of this type of gaming, because there's got to be a game out there going, right, this would be really cool, but the technology that we have doesn't support what we're trying to achieve. The NFT space and crypto space as a whole, the blockchain technology, could be the answer for these.
Yeah, I mean, WoW is kind of a weird case study, because originally, of course, it started off as a closed ecosystem. You earn your items by mining or going farming and crafting them by the skills in game. Some people wanted to shortcut that, so some people realised that there would be a market for them to craft the items and sell them on, or go and farm them in high-level dungeons and sell them on to other people with the in-game currency, which was gold, or you'd trade item for item with people. Of course, then people realised that you needed gold to be able to influence in the game marketplaces and stuff, and so people would then go out and make, bots, as it were, to influence the market and get hold of gold, and then people would use real-life marketplaces to trade gold for fiat. And that was your entry point in and out. So there were centralized points outside of like standard WoW, and all of a sudden there was like currency markets in and out of the game for everyday Tom, Dick, and Harry's, or Jamie and Kieran's, etc. That there weren't ever before in any other title. Diablo 3, I believe it was, or Diablo 2, Diablo 3, I think, tried having a fiat marketplace in game, but it very quickly became apparent that pay to win was a massive factor there, and people would just hold the whole entire marketplace ransom against anybody else that was trying to trade.
I think that would be the biggest blockade within the space, to be honest with you, even with or without NFTs and crypto being involved. I think play to win is a big problem, especially for those that are PvP, so player versus player, rather than PvE, where it's player versus environment. So something like your Grand Theft Auto 6 that's coming out, I can imagine that a play to win issue would be apparent if they were to incorporate some form of open marketplace, because like you said, you can just log in as an absolute noob, pay hundreds of dollars, pounds, or whatever it is in real life money to get the top weapons, and then away you go, and you're way ahead of the herd.
Yeah, buying your way to properties and to vehicles, etc., and power ups like COD, etc. Yeah, I don't agree with that side of the NFTs in gaming. If that's the route we're going, we may as well not bother. We may as well stick to capture games, mobiles, and loot boxes, and that sort of side of things. And that's a horrific experience for many of us. It's very addictive. It becomes a game of chance, and you don't necessarily like that. Now, as cosmetics, which is where I feel the benefit is of all of this NFTs and interactivity, etc., that's the better thing. It doesn't actually give you a benefit in game. It just allows you to focus on your identity. If you go and look at something like Ready Player Me as the movie, or even the Neil Stephenson Snow Crash audiobook and the actual book itself, phenomenal reads and audios, listens, etc. If you look at it as an extension of like your online persona and how you dress yourself up, a bit like your old Sims or whatever all these old titles were that are similar, where you have your avatar, your PlayStation home avatar or your Xbox One, and you'd put a pair of trainers, t-shirt, etc. And yours would look different to mine, and different to my sister's, and different to your mum's avatars, etc. Because you choose to make it look like how you are, or you choose it to look like how you wish you looked like in line, with blue hair, dragon teeth, etc., whatever. That's where the NFT benefit would come in for me and not on play to win or play to earn. I mean, sure, if you ended up unlocking like a really rare pattern that was, one of only 10 available in this whole entire game, sure, you're earning from that because you might like that as yourself, show off your status, or somebody else might want it to show off their status and be the owner of it. And you make a tidy sum off of it, and it helps you, enjoy the rest of your game and buying the things you like. One person's, trash is another person's treasure, after all.
Yeah.
But keep away, please, anybody creating, keep away from the play to win, keep away from the play to earn, and keep towards like the play to have fun elements still.
Yeah, so I've been
identity.
Yeah, I've been keeping a close eye on certain games. I mean, what you've been talking about is effectively we're talking about the metaverse. Let's be honest. That's a clear, your own representation online, which I haven't heard a lot about lately. Anything about the metaverse in the last sort of 4 to 5 months. There's a lot of chat about it, but it's all seemed to have died down a bit. But anyway, we'll put that aside for perhaps another time. But yeah, in terms of...
I'll give you a polarizing statement to end that, Jamie. I'll give you one to stand that. The reason the metaverse has gone quiet and the reason that NFTs had bad annotations and bad coverage from, say, Kotaku, PC Gamer, Reddit, and like all the press, because it was done wrong. It was done with profit in mind. It wasn't done with fun in mind. NFTs were marketed as play to earn. NFTs were marketed as digital monkeys that don't really do anything, and people pushed upon everybody as this is the best thing since sliced bread when it's just a JPEG, or people pushed upon the idea of the metaverse being the best thing ever and you had to buy land. Why the heck does everybody need to own a piece of digital land when some people don't even own their own physical land to have their own home on? People rent, so why, or people go to social places to go and enjoy. You don't have to pay to go to a supermarket, you pay to shop. You don't pay to go to a park, you don't pay to go to certain areas. The beach, for instance, you might pay to park, etc., to get there, but those are places that you should be able to go to for free. The metaverse was set up trying to make profit in the wrong places, same as NFTs originally. This is why we're struggling right now. Education needs to come. It will come back and be a better solution, but until that first impression is sorted, we're going to struggle.
Yeah, I've always had the feeling that the metaverse as a concept is fantastic. The execution, questionable. I think that there will be one metaverse to rule it all, if you like. That will be the one. Maybe a couple. There'll definitely be very few that will absolutely smash it out the park. Do I think that's been invented yet? Absolutely not. The other side looked exciting. I don't know enough to comment on that really on how it's going, but there will be one that will be, like the main place to go. That will absolutely change everything, and will definitely be, like you said, was it Ready Player Me type of format where there will be gaming on there. There'll be people creating their own types of casino-like things. I guess would probably be on there. I'd imagine lots of platform games on there. People setting up businesses. Obviously, I mean, as a firm with Minor, we have spoken about opening an office in the metaverse several times. We just don't feel that it's quite the right time right now because we don't feel like there's one place that is a cut above the rest at the moment.
The true metaverse will be an interoperable set of locations where you can walk seamlessly between titles or games, or seamlessly between worlds. A bit like now you use an aeroplane or a car or a boat or a bus or a train to get between places. Maybe a teleporter in the future or a rocket ship. In the metaverse at the minute, you have to close down and reopen. That shouldn't be how it should be. We should be able to navigate and walk between worlds and take your digital identity with you.
Yeah, so let's talk about the interoperability of these NFTs in that case, from a gaming perspective again. So I suppose that word, for those who aren't quite sure, we're talking about something where you're going from one sort of network, one blockchain to another, or one game to another, where you're actually moving across with the same asset. So think of it like your Grand Theft Auto 6 character has this really cool outfit, for example, and then you go and play Call of Duty, and you can actually use that NFT for that outfit, if you like, and move it across to that game where you're wearing the same thing, 2 different games. I mean, we've seen crossover things where, do you remember this? Is it the Switch, or it was something that Nintendo did where you had a toy, like a Skylander toy type thing, and you could actually tap it onto your gaming device, and you'd have like Link appear on your screen because you've tapped it, and now he's a playable character. And you could also tap it on another game and he'll be a character on that game. That sort of thing. What are you thinking, Kieran?
Yeah. Like the idea of being able to take your identity across any platform or any game is an intriguing one. Now, if we look at standard gaming right now, and I'm not going to if I call it traditional gaming, that's better. I don't like Web 2, Web 3 as words. I need to stop using them. I find them false and pretentious. So traditional gaming right now, you have a character per title. I won't buy a game out of principle to try another one if I have to start from zero, or if I don't see the benefit of it being something I know I like. Now, if there was the opportunity to play a game like, let's go back to Battlefield 3. I played that for months and months and months with loads of friends. I didn't then go and try other titles around the same sort of genre because I felt like I'd be starting again, not bringing things with me. I've spent an awful lot of time here. I've unlocked my own patterns, my DD pat rifles and all that jazz, and I've got all my rockets, etc. If I could have been able to take patterns and my own identity into these games or these other titles, I may well have been tempted to try them because I'm not necessarily losing my progress that I've gained before. Because there's like a positive feedback loop already where you're saying to me as a player or as a collector or as a gamer or as a fan or however it may be as a person, you're saying you value the fact that I've spent time on another game and we're happy for you to try our game and bring what bring into us, and we're happy for you to take what you earn in our game and take elsewhere as well. I mean, there could be, let's say, for instance, Call of Duty in 2030 and Battlefield in 2030 and CSGO in 2030. All of them have their own skins within games, but they allow you to own them within like a wallet or an inventory that's linked to your social media handle. So I log in as Kieran on Battlefield. I play for a week. I earn a pattern that's like a lizard print pattern for my AK-47. I then go into COD, and they honour the fact that I've earned this skin on somewhere else, and they allow me to use it in that game. And then I play in COD for 2 to 3 weeks until I unlock this fluorescent pink skin that's on a sniper rifle that I can't get in Battlefield by playing Battlefield, but I can get it in COD. And then by having it in COD, I can then go back to Battlefield, and they honour the fact that I've got it elsewhere, and they allow me to bring it into that game, and it's a skin that people now know I can't unlock in your game, but I can lock in another, and I can bring it into this game. And then people will then start playing opposite games to unlock the skins to come back to your game and show off that I've got this. And you're then also able to show, I've been, Prestige 10 on Battlefield and I'm in COD. And people go, how do I get that? Oh, you have to play this game. And, I want it as well. Well, you've got to either buy it from me or you have to go and earn it yourself over there. And all of a sudden you're bringing collectives of gamers, rather than being tribal and sitting in their own niches, all of a sudden you're bringing gamers back together, integrating a bit better. You probably won't get as much toxicity because you're no longer going to have people, fanning the flames. My game's better than your game, because you're going to be like, I managed to get this by playing on this map and doing these sort of things. Other people, will imitate and have flattery towards your inventory as well.
I think they've got to be very...
I'll probably try more games if you allow me to. Yeah.
I think they need to be very careful. There's a couple of, again, from a gaming perspective, that could be issues. So, talking about the NFTs itself trying to be cross-platform, hence interoperability-ness, and you're going to be in a situation where all these games need to come together. They need to come together and actually agree that will happen and they can barely do that across platforms, which I think is an issue. So that's number one. Number two, if you are in a situation where you can use the same character over and over again, and you've developed this character over the years, the barrier to entry for new players coming in will be sky high. Because if you've been playing for 10 years and you can move this character to there, to there, to there, and they'll naturally have the advantage, because they'll naturally have more levels, more equipment, more gear, whatever it might be. If I'm a new player, because, someone's been born and turned of age at like 13, started to play games, they're going to come in and go, oh, Kieran's 40 years old, he's been playing for 20 years. I cannot compete now. And this is not just one game. I cannot compete on any games at all. Whether it's FIFA 38 or COD, Modern Warfare 25, whatever it is. Because you see what I'm saying here? There's a big issue around an alpha tribe, if you like, of personnel of whoever is consistent with it will be number one, and no one can beat them anymore. And then we started going, well, is the only answer to that pay to win now?
But so long as I'm talking, NFTs shouldn't be power ups. They shouldn't be level skips. They should be cosmetics, value adds. They should be something to complement the main experience in the game. It shouldn't be the sole reason to play the game. It's like a social status, you wearing a Hollister t-shirt instead of an Armani t-shirt. You choose to, you like that. You know, that should be the way it is, like an extension of your social identity or your metaverse identity, avatar identity as well. So I'm not saying that go and be an alpha guy because I've heard this many years ago. I mean, it may be that I do. And then all of a sudden, you know, in 5 years' time, I decide I don't want to game anymore. And so I sell all these on. And then somebody may not have earned that item, but there'll be a value towards it because you can't collect that anymore because it was from season 3 and we're now on season 36. So there'll be a value on that. And then I would earn from selling that on to somebody else that wants to experience having that skin or that pattern or that collectible against somebody else that doesn't have that and, you know, gets the, you know, so I no longer need it. Someone else can have it.
Yeah, I suppose that's a very important note to make, really. The difference between the ongoing interoperability, if you like, being strictly cosmetic basis or prestige basis or title base, something that doesn't affect actual gameplay, like a very fancy AK-47 special edition on Call of Duty that absolutely wrecks everyone, then being able to move that across platforms. Unless it's just a cosmetic thing, it probably would create this issue of alpha personnel, very much like Ark.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever played Ark. Once you're at that level of an alpha tribe, anyone comes in, they just don't stand a chance. So yeah, it's very interesting to see where it can go from play to earn gaming, hashtag it's a Ponzi scheme, Kieran, all the way through to this interoperable skin-based ecosystem that kind of takes the cross-platform gaming to the next level. And I'm extremely excited for what the future holds for the gaming space, because crypto and NFTs will be a part of it. What level? I don't know.
It'll be the way that it can be seamlessly enjoyed as a digital collectible, where you don't have to ever worry as if there's a chance of there being fraud or this being a fake item or it being taken away from you. That's the way, you know, if your game's hacked, you never get access to that item again. But if you own them in a social wallet where you're the owner of that item, you can take them to another game if you no longer play it.
And that's where I know you don't like the word, but I personally believe what Web3 means. Web3 is, to me anyway, is all about taking ownership of your data, of your of your assets to the next level, because you don't really own those skins and everything else on the game, because like you said, if the game shuts down, bans you or whatever, it's not yours. And I think that that's a push towards that notion at the very least. So in terms of gaming, and a wrap up, I guess, of this session, we talked about play to earn gaming, we talked about NFTs and digital ownership itself, and we talked about interoperability, issues with that, where it's going to go. As you can probably tell, listeners, we are extremely excited about this because we are massive nerds and we love our gaming. We also love our crypto, and it's definitely going to be the way forward. I think this will be bigger than NFTs by itself, bigger than play to earn gaming was, bigger than these CryptoKitties games where you are breeding and selling and organizing and all that. I think it's going to be even bigger than all of that put together. Gaming in the crypto space, or crypto in the gaming space, shall I say, because there's a big difference between those two. I think it will be absolutely massive.
Yeah, be absolutely monumentously huge. Think of NFTs as a way to cut down on fraud. That's the way it should always be. Remove fakes, remove forgeries, remove imitations. This is legit.
Hashtag immutable ledger. There we go. Well, thank you very much, Kieran, for gracing your presence once more. It's been, this has probably been my favourite chat so far, just because it's all about gaming, if I'm honest, and there's just so much to talk about. So yeah, thank you for coming along. We may or may not do another one. I'm sure we will at some point, depending on how the audience takes this. But I cannot thank you enough for joining us once more, Kieran.
No problem at all, man. I'd love to touch on this again in maybe another couple of months as well, and where people are going to push the gaming boundaries and understand it. And Pokemon Company, if you're listening, please, please, please do Pokemon as NFTs and remove the fear of frauds and IVs being faked and cheat codes in competitive gaming. Like, use NFTs, please.
Absolutely. I think if Pokemon or even Yu-Gi-Oh and even Dragon Ball, all these big anime brands, if they start getting involved early enough, they would make an absolute fortune. Because I know myself and Kieran would be straight on it, let alone everyone else in the space, because it adds a sort of branding to it. But anyway, that's for another time. Thank you again, Kieran. Any last words to sign off for us?
Bibbity bobbity boo. I love NFTs, and so do you.
Cheers. Goodbye.